Hey everybody. Hey. Can you hear me all right? All right, good. My name is Ken Fainer. My company is The Social Glue. My wife Nancy is sitting back there on your left. She's kind of waving right now. She's my partner. I've been doing this now almost 7 years, but I'm going to tell you a little bit of history about myself in just a minute. But these are all the ways you can connect with me. And I just realized, Nancy, if you would get the sheets, they're in my thing, and pass them around. If you would, I'd like you to sign up. Let me know you're here. Give me your email address, your phone number. I'm not going to use it for anything bad, but I will send you this presentation, and I have a couple of other little freebie things that I'd like to send you for signing up with me, just to kind of see, because some of this stuff you may know, some of it you may not know, and I think seeing the slides again will help you, get through some of this. Or you might say, oh, he said something about this, and I'd like to see that slide again. So I'll make sure you get all the slides. They'll come to you probably Monday, the sign-up sheets. Hopefully I brought them, yes. And these are all the ways you can connect with me. When you get this, there are actually links, so you'll just be able to click on them, and it'll take you right to my Facebook or to my Twitter, or you can just click and email me. Also, I would encourage you to email me if you have any questions. Something pops up later and you say, gosh, how do I do this? Email me the question. I'd be glad to respond to you. And my phone number's on there too if you want to give me a quick call. It comes straight to my mobile line, so you'll be able to, ask me a question. I'm there to help you guys. I'm kind of part 3 in today's discussion, believe it or not. Greg talked about, helping with your practice and showing patients why they should, come and show you how to test and show them what they're kind of missing with the tests, and really show that they do need what you're offering them. Doug kind of came along and built upon that and talked about noise reduction and things like that. I actually just did a whole campaign for one of the dispensers that I work with in the Atlanta area, and we did a whole campaign on Facebook and email where we talked about hearing isn't understanding. Because that's one of the biggest things that people have trouble with, and that was the first thing that came up, was that the background noise, whatever, is knocking out them being able to understand the spoken conversation that they want to have. And so she was talking about how if you come in and see her, she's going to make sure that she fits it properly, and that hearing not only is just hearing but becomes understanding. So I have a little experience in this world. It's funny because I've spoken behind Greg a couple of times, and now this is, I think, the 3rd time that I've spoken behind Doug. And so I kind of feel kind of privileged to be in that group of people because they're both very much experts in their own world. Little bit on how I got here. Just give you a little bit of background. This is me in 1978. If you can pick me out, I'll talk for a minute and see if you can spot me. I'll give you a clue. I'm in the back row. Anyway, I started out, if you would have told me I would be here speaking in Atmore today in 1978, I would have said, no, I love music too much. I'm a marketing major, but I'm going to do something in music. And this is me, by the way. You got it? Very good. I got out of college and went to work for a company called Record Shack. And Record Shack was a music wholesaler. So I got kind of my love of music and my marketing all kind of in one. And I love that. Then I went to work for a company called the Video Music Channel in Atlanta. And we started, I can't remember if it was the day before or the day after MTV launched. But we were like a local MTV or kind of like video TV, like a radio station, because we could give stuff away and people could call us. And it was really neat. So I really enjoyed that, getting to follow along with my music still, but build my marketing. Then I went back to work for another music distributor, and I worked with them for 9 years or so before I actually started my own first business in 1994 doing traditional marketing. And the marketing that I did was helping, and this is all the way back in my Record Shack days. I worked with mom and pop retailers. I worked with small businesses, and that's where my love of individual businesses came about. And in 1994, I was able to do the same thing and get back working with independent business owners again in the music industry. And what I did was I went to the record labels and they gave me money. One year they gave me almost $1 million in money to spend with stores, with music stores. And I was able to place ads across the country promoting those stores. And it was a great time. That company lasted for almost 15 years. And a little thing that happened towards the end was iTunes. And I'll bring iTunes up again in a little bit in my discussion. But I started realizing that traditional advertising was starting to fade away. Things were all starting to change. And the music industry, you think they're kind of hip, they're happening, they're dinosaurs. And they weren't picking up on the change fast enough. So I decided I need to go to work for a while for a social media company and kind of get up to speed. And this is right when Facebook first launched their pages for business. And so I was in there at the beginning in 2010, and a year later I said, you know what? This isn't rocket science. I can do this. I've been doing marketing now for almost 30-something years. I know what I'm doing. So I started my own company, The Social Glue, in 2011. I've been doing it ever since. Back when the music industry kind of started falling apart, especially for the individual retailers, I noticed that a couple of companies, a couple of stores that I dealt with, one in Orlando, a couple in LA, one in Denver, they were all still doing extremely well. But I was also watching other stores close left and right. And I said, what are you doing? I started asking, what are you doing? Why are you still in business? Some of them were actually opening a second store. And they were like, well, we stay in touch with our customers. I said, well, that's all good. How do you do that? They said, well, we do email campaigns. And I said, email? You mean like you write a little email and you send it to them and say, come to my store? They go, oh no, every month we send them what's coming out next week. And so they get all the new releases. And I said, really, how does that work? Send me one. And they sent this to me. I was expecting it to be all text, very boring. It was pictures. It looked really beautiful. It had their logo on it. It looked great. And they were doing that. They were saying, these are the new releases coming out next week. Here's what we think about them. They put in a few comments that they thought about them. And then they said, oh, and by the way, this artist will be in our store performing. And I thought, wow, what a great way to go. These stores are still in business today. And what they did was they stayed in touch with their customers. They didn't let their customers just wander off to iTunes. And, Doug mentioned over the counter. And Greg, I don't know if he mentioned it directly or not, but I've had discussions with him about how it could start affecting you guys. And I kind of see it, and I'll go through the comparison here in a minute. By the way, we like to say our social media and email marketing sticks. That's why we came up with the idea of glue. But I'm going to go through a little bit of what I think, believe it or not, are the similarities between what I did for 25 some odd years and what you guys do. And so I hope that this all makes sense to you. And I'm going to get in, I hope, kind of like Doug, that you learn at least 10 new things from me today, maybe more, hopefully. And I'm hoping that you get a whole lot out of this. Do we have any social media rock stars here today? Anybody really excited about their Facebook page or Twitter or even LinkedIn? Anything? Anybody? Yeah? So you have, what do you have?
But I'm not consistent.
Okay. But you have a Facebook page, or what do you have?
All of them.
Oh, you have all of them. Okay. All right. But you're not consistent.
Yeah, I'm not consistent.
Okay. Well, we're going to work on that, because I want you to become consistent on it. Because if you become consistent with it, and you learn some of the tricks that I'm going to talk about today, you're going to find out you're going to get a lot better results. So let me just go through the agenda just a little bit today. We're going to talk about growing your brand and that type of thing. So one thing you're going to first have to do, and you're already got a head start, you've already picked some of the social media platforms you want to be on. I would recommend starting off, once you pick a platform, that you stick with it for a while before you pick another platform. It's so easy to get out there and pick 2 or 3 platforms. People always, you'll have friends or family members that'll say, oh, you need to be on Facebook, or, oh, Pinterest is the new big thing. You need to be on Pinterest. You need to decide where your customers are and be where your customers are is the first main thing. The second thing to think about when you're going to pick a site or actually get to the second site, you need to decide, am I going to have the time to do this? Because you might be able to do your Facebook page, a couple of times a week, and that's fine. But now you add Twitter, or you add Pinterest, or you add Instagram, something like that. Are you going to have the time to do all of this? You got to really consider that. Once you pick your sites, you have to set them up, and I recommend that you take the time to set them up thoroughly. Then you need to tell everybody. People just don't find you anymore on social media. You have to have kind of a plan. And we're going to talk about some of the things you can do to make sure people discover you. And some of the people you want to really discover you, believe it or not, are the people who already know you. And we're going to talk about that too, because that is the best place to start, are people that already know you. And I'll explain to you why. You might be thinking, I want new people, I want new business. But I'm going to talk to you why that has changed totally in the way to really start reaching out to people. We're going to talk about creating content. Is one of the reasons you don't post, you don't know what to say?
I got too many irons in the fire.
Got too many irons in the fire. So time is one of those things that you need to consider. So maybe you might want to pare down a little bit. We're going to talk just briefly about social media advertising. And finally, we're going to talk about growing your list. And I'll get in to explain all of that in just a minute. So tell me, would you agree, is it easier to keep a customer than to go out and find new customers? Would you? Pretty much, right? How about this one? Word of mouth is your best form of advertising. Getting those referrals is super important. That's why I'm saying starting with the people you have can really help grow your business. You can do all sorts of advertising and stuff like that, and I'm sure many of you have tried different forms of advertising. Maybe you found some that work really well. Maybe you've found a few dogs that don't work at all, but I'm sure you've tried different things. So getting back to my music references, and I'll try not to throw too many of these at you today, but this was one of my favorite rock bands growing up, The Who. They put an album out called Who Are You, right? And so you need to discover who you are. Who do your customers think you are? And you need to really expound upon that and let them know what you have to offer them. You need to make sure you're clear on that. And you need to work on defining your target audience. I was talking to a group one day, and a guy raised his hand. He said, I know my target audience. I know my audience. He could tell you within a mile once how far his reach would go as far as people driving to him. He knew the exact geographic area. He knew that 1 mile outside of that area, no one was going to drive any further to get to him. He knew the age group. He knew the demographic. He knew the type of car most of his customers drove. He had done a lot of research. And that was great. That really helps. But something that's sad about all of that is when you discover that only about 3% of those people at any given time that you're trying to communicate to really need what you're offering. That's kind of sad. You're sitting there going, oh, I got 10,000 people right around me. That's all great. But only in your market, 3% might need it. The trickier part is when you're trying to communicate with them right at the time they need it. And that gets down to about 1%, being able to reach out and hit them right when they need you. So what I'm going to talk today about is communicating on a regular basis. Not just once a month, twice a month, but in some case daily. And that's what social media can allow you to do, is to stay in front of people daily so that when they need something, they're going to think about you. Or when someone in the family says something, they can say, I know who you need to go see. That's getting the referral. And that's what we're going to be talking a lot about today, is how do you reach them? So I told you I'm going to compare kind of my industry that I worked in for almost 30 years, and your industry. I started in the record industry, and the first thing that affected the music industry was a thing called Napster. Anybody remember Napster? You could share music freely, everybody loved it, it was a great thing. Music industry didn't like it, record stores didn't like it, and they were able, basically because it was illegal, to stop it. But then this little company came along, they built computers, and they said, you know what, we're going to sell a song for 99 cents, and we're going to give almost all the money back to the record label, except we're going to keep a penny or two. And people thought, all the record store owners thought, no big deal. We sell CDs. We sell DVDs. We don't need to worry about one little sale here or sale there, you know. So iTunes came around. Changed the industry. Changed the industry. Mom and pop stores started going out of business. And they would have told you that would never happen. But that's exactly what happened. Their industry shifted. Then what happened? Amazon put out their music format. Google now has music. You've got Pandora. You've got Spotify. I don't know what's coming next. But I know it's really, really hard on the music stores out there. But the ones that I told you about, they're still doing fine because they're staying in touch with their customers. They have that loyalty built. That's, I think, kind of what Doug was alluding to, that you've got to be and show the expertise that people are going to want to come back to you over and over again. So in your industry, you've got some challenges too. There's internet sales out there. I was talking last night to someone, and they were, you know, I was talking, I can't remember exactly how it came up, and they said, how many of you have heard of Alibaba? Have you heard of that? You know what they sell? They sell hearing aids for like $69. They say Siemens on them. Can you get a Siemens hearing aid for $69? No. It's made in China. It's an amplification device that they stick Siemens on. It's ripping people off.
Legally? Can they do that?
No, they can't. But when it's a company overseas that doesn't have any of our laws and they're willing to ship into the United States, and what happens? Those people get those devices. Maybe you've had someone come in and say, well, I bought this, and you look at it and you go, this isn't really a real hearing aid. You know, they're deceived. They don't know any better. You guys can help educate people. I saw a video on YouTube where a guy, he spent a good 15 minutes scrolling through the internet, showing people who followed him on YouTube all these ways to discover how they were being lied to. Because in a lot of these pictures, you can see the Siemens on there, but on the corner of the box, you can see Chinese writing. You know, and he says, look at that, that's not a Siemens device. It's just a knockoff with the Siemens name on there. It looks just like it, but it's not even a hearing aid. But that's what's happening out there. The internet's kind of the wild, wild west of things. No, they can't do that in America. But someone overseas without copyright laws and things like that, or trademarks and stuff like that, they can do it and send it to America. And then we talked about, Doug talked a little bit about over-the-counter stuff, and that was coming. And how to differentiate your people. Well, how do you do that? You're going to have to tell them. You know, you're going to have to not only show them when they come in for your assistance and for your help, but you're going to also have to ongoing just tell them. People have to hear things more than once. That's what I've learned in marketing, you know. I've even learned in networking and things like that. Sometimes you have to touch someone 7 times before they really understand what you're saying. How do you do that? You do that with social media and putting a message out there on a regular basis and bringing it back up and explaining things to people so that when someone's at a cocktail party or at a neighborhood cookout and one of your patients is there and they're saying, oh, I'm going over to Walmart tomorrow to get my hearing aids. They go, whoa, no, I'll tell you who you need to go see. And they give you as a referral. That's what you need to happen. And you can do that with both email marketing and social media. And I have no idea what else is going to come after that. I mean, you can see everything that happened to the industry, you know, and how it affected the music industry. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the value of a list. And what I mean by that is, how many of you guys, when people are filling out their patient information, you ask for phone number? Do you ask for email address? Do you make sure they give you an email address? Or if they don't give it to you, you just kind of go, oh well. Kind of, oh well. You need to start trying to collect those email addresses. I talked to a group of folks just like y'all in Kansas City back in March, and I brought that same thing up, and some of them said, oh, I just don't worry about it. I maybe have 20 or 30 that I actually have an email address on out of all their patients. And I'm like, well, you really need to start trying to, when an older patient comes back in and you notice that you don't have their email address, you really need to get that email address. And I'll show you very simply why. What would you say is the average cost? Let me do this real quick. First, you take the size of your list and you multiply it times the average cost of a product. Now, I know hearing aids aren't inexpensive. I know they're not $69. I know that's not right. So, $1,200 to $4,000? Is that somewhere in there? I know it's they depending on what they do and everything and how new they are. If I said $2,000, would that be fair? Would that be a fair guesstimate? And then up, and then I'm trying to be lowball it just to be, and then if they get two, which 80% of people get two, that's $4,000. If you just had 100 people on your list, what would your list be worth? $400,000? Is that worthwhile? Collecting those names, staying in touch with those people, making sure when they think about, it's time to see if there's something new, something better, they come see you. Think about that. Really start working on your list. And if they say to you, oh, I don't want to get a bunch of spam, this is what you can tell them.
I hear that a lot.
I know. I'm not going to spam you. Once a month, you'll get something from me. It'll be very short. It'll be very concise. It might have an offer. It could be a birthday greeting in which I'm giving you free batteries. You can actually set this stuff up so on their birthday, they get a little something from you. Could be free batteries or something. Just a little gift, not a whole lot of money, but just a little something to show that you're thinking about them on their birthday. But then you can also say, if you want to, all it takes is one click to unsubscribe, and you'll never get anything else from me again. But more importantly is, by staying in touch with me, you're going to always know the newest thing, the latest news, and what's going on. And if I have a new way that I can help you, I want you to know about it. And I think most people will say, okay, I'll try it. I've found very few people each month unsubscribe from email lists. And I'm talking about one of my clients has over 8,000 people in her list. And sometimes she goes several months without anybody unsubscribing. So don't worry about that. And don't worry that you're going to, be spamming people, because you're not. You're going to be providing them good information. You're going to be making it possible for that person at that, barbecue, that neighborhood barbecue, to actually refer you. That's what you want to be able to do. So what type of marketing challenges have y'all had?
We don't really know where to go.
No? What have you tried?
Well, actually, we quit, newspaper.
Right.
We quit radio. We quit this and that. We've scaled our telephone stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
Very little in the phone books. Spent money on our website, big time.
Right.
And we think that's number one,
Yep, good idea. Okay.
kind of where we are.
So do you have a good person doing your SEO and that type of
Yeah,
thing?
we've got a 47-year practice.
Okay.
So there's lots and lots of names that we mail to.
Okay. But you're physically mailing to them right now?
Correct.
Right. Have you tried any email yet?
Well, we do get the email, but we've never done anything with it.
Okay.
We just haven't. Now, if they were to contact us,
Right.
then the ladies communicate back by email.
Sure, sure. But I'll talk a little bit more about what you can do. What did you?
To illustrate, we're trying to go from the shotgun approach to more of a targeted rifle approach. And
Right.
it's a challenge finding the people that we want to come into our office.
Right.
And sort of screen out some that we don't necessarily want coming to the
Right.
office.
So if you could increase referrals, that would be a good thing, because those would be friends of friends are probably going to be very much like your customers right now. And so that would be perfect. Anybody else? Well, those are two very common, examples of what's going on right now when it comes to challenges. I know if anybody is still using Yellow Pages out there, please consider doing something different. If anybody gets approached by, I don't know if they have this here, but I actually got the Metacoustics account because they had bought Yellow Pages online. And every month they were writing this gigantic check to them, and they never got them even set up. And they were going, we're not even set up. You can't even find us, on yellowpages.com or whatever. And 3 months went by, 4 months went by. They were just collecting their money. And finally they quit paying them, and they finally got a phone call saying, why'd you quit paying us? He said, well, we've been trying to call you, but no one answers the phone. Oh, I moved desks. I'm at a different desk now. So someone with a Yellow Pages can't transfer calls to another desk. It was a joke. But, be wary of things like that. People who say, oh, if you do this, this, and this, you're going to get rich. We've got a system down. Be wary of that type of stuff when it comes to online. Having someone that does good SEO for you can really pay off for your website. So that would be great. So I understand you're doing SEO. You're trying to find more people to of the customers that you would want. What else are y'all doing? Anybody else? Yes. Okay. Commercials on radio, TV, or both? Or TV? Very good. All right. And direct mail. Which works best? Or are they?
Seems to be direct mail.
Yeah. And about what percentage of the direct mail is paying off? Is it the same as it was, or is it decreasing, or what would you say?
I'd have to check with my daddy on that.
Okay. Because I know direct mail, most of my clients that do direct mail have found it starting to drop off a little bit, but they still use it because for certain zip codes it still works.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend looking at the zip codes and seeing if you notice if any of the zip codes have dropped.
That's what we did.
Good, good.
He doesn't mail to every zip code.
Right.
He picks out the zip codes he wants to mail to.
Exactly. And if you notice any of them starting to drop, then keep an eye on them and then decide if you want to keep them. That might give you, more money to do something along social media lines and actually advertising on social media, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. It's easy to waste money on social media. Sometimes they make it really easy to click and spend money on social media, and I'll warn you about that when we get there. So we talked a little bit about what you guys are doing. The way I used to market was the traditional form of marketing, which he kind of alluded to, the shotgun approach, where you just kind of spray it all out there. And that's what that top line really represents. When you market, I sold radio advertising, I sold TV advertising, I've been involved in this for some time now. And even though people pick the right radio station or the right TV station and the right shows for their audience, you still are going to reach a ton of people that right now, I told you, really they don't have a need for your product right now, or they don't perceive they have a need for your product right now. So you're always going to reach a ton of people, but you get the privilege of paying for that reach. They love to tell you, but you reached 30,000 people, you know, that type of thing. But you know what? It didn't do anything for you necessarily. So what I'm going to try and do is flip the funnel upside down and start with the people you have and get them excited about promoting you. And when they're at that party, they can refer you. You know, when they have a friend, they can stop them from making a bad mistake in ordering from Alibaba. You know, I mean, I was blown away when I saw that on YouTube. This guy spent a good 15 minutes showing everybody what to look out for when they're going to purchase. It was very, very helpful. And very good. He does a lot of YouTube videos. He does 1 or 2 a week that he puts out there, all on audiology. So we said that word of mouth is one of your best forms of advertising, and that's what social media and email marketing allow you to do. Because with just a click, if you post something on social media that someone likes, with just one click, they can share it with everybody they know. The average person on Facebook has 300 people that they're connected to. So with a simple click, you just got 300 more people, you know, involved in the conversation. Email marketing. If someone gets an email and they want to forward that to a friend or family member and say, hey, I think you ought to read article number 2. Most of the emails that we do will have an opening story, another story maybe supporting the opening story, and then a third little article of some sort. We usually do short newsletters. It usually will take you about 30 seconds to maybe a minute just to scan it to see if you want to delve further. And then if you want to read further, you click the read more link and it takes you to the whole story. You don't want to take people's time up online. They're busy doing stuff. If they know, are any of y'all members of the Chamber of Commerce? A couple of you. If you've ever gotten a Chamber of Commerce newsletter, they're usually about 10 or 15 scrolls to get to the bottom of it. We try to make newsletters, and this is what I recommend people do, that are just 3 short little quick statements, a little bit of information about what they're going to see in the article, something to entice them to click to read more. It's their choice to read more. But if they know that they're going to get this from you, and it's only going to take a second to look at it, they're going to open it. They're not going to throw it away. But if they see something in there that they know their uncle can use, or a brother, or their mom, or their dad, or whatever, and they forward it, or even they have a friend that they're really getting a little aggravated with because the friend keeps saying, what? What? Or they go over and the TV's so loud, whatever, you know all the symptoms. They can forward that to a friend and say, I recommend you check this out and give this, give them a call. Just a simple click. That's all it takes to make that referral, to get more information out there and get them into the right hands. 78% say companies with social media posts actually influence their purchases. 73% are likely to buy from a brand that responds. So that's why I tell people, if you're going to make posts, you need to have your notifications turned on, so if someone responds, you'll be ready to reply. Someone was asking me earlier, what do I do? Do I set people up? And I say, yeah, I set up people, social media, but I really become them online. So if someone responds, it's up to me to respond back. Now, if I can't respond, not just 99% accurately, if I can't respond 100% accurately, I write to the client and I say, how would you like to respond to this? And usually within 20, 30 minutes, I get a response back and I post it. I usually cut and paste it and post it right in as the response, and then now I know how to respond to that question going forward. So you need to respond. You need to let them know that you're actually paying attention and that you want to communicate with them. That's why this is called social media. It's not like advertising where you just put it out there. This is to cause conversation back and forth. And 84% of social media users like to show support for a cause. I recommend that you guys consider getting involved with a charity in your area. One reason, we talked about the value of the list. Some of these charities have very big lists, and they're willing to include your name in those lists. So if someone ends up on your website or on your social media, and you have a way for them to sign up, you know, with you on your Facebook page or on your website, people can sign up to get your newsletter. That's another way to start communicating to them. The thing I love about email marketing, and I do email marketing, and my heart is really with social media, but email marketing has 3 times the conversion of social media. So those are hard numbers to dispute. The other thing is the ROI of email marketing is the highest of any ROI of any marketing. Radio's ROI has stayed fairly constant over the years. National TV advertising and stuff like that, I don't know about local TV advertising, has always had a negative ROI. But the big companies do it because they're branding. They're working on keeping their brand out there. So they do it even though it's a kind of a lost leader for them. The biggest advantage that you guys have, and you probably don't even realize it, is that you have an authentic connection with your audience. They've met with you. You've talked to them. So when you write a post on social media or you send out an email announcement, just do it in common language. Don't do it in some salesy, flashy way. They know how you sound already. Your voice should be in the correspondence. So write like you talk. I like to equate this to big companies like Chick-fil-A, Coca-Cola. Chick-fil-A has the cows. Coca-Cola has the polar bears or whatever. Other people have to go out and make up or get endorsements, from some sports celebrity or something like that. You guys can be yourselves. That goes a long way to making that human connection with your patients. You can use social media to build those relationships. That's what I've been trying to focus today. It also increases brand awareness. It's keeping your name out there on a regular basis. They should be seeing something from you at least once a week. Social media, and then from a newsletter point of view, from email marketing, once a month. So you're touching them several times throughout the month and staying in front of them. The great thing is, you can use social media to grow your email list and ask people to click here and bring up a landing page or something like that where they can sign up for your newsletter, whatever. But you can also use your newsletter to get people who've come into the office to sign up for your social media. So think of it that way. They're great at working together to increase those lists so that you're constantly staying in touch with people. So let's jump into picking the right sites. Now, some of y'all probably know most of these, but I'm going to go through them because there's some new things up there. Some of you might already know about them. Starting at the top is Facebook, then Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest. The little ghost character is Snapchat, YouTube, and then Periscope. As far as social media networking, the first 6 are great for that. What can you do with them? You can share photos, links, other content very, very easily. Videos. Speaking of videos, these are the ones that you can do recorded videos on. I tell you what I'm really excited about right now is the last column here. And I'll give you the reason why I'm so excited about it. this last column, live video, takes so little effort. It takes a little bit of nerve, but it takes so little effort. When I do video production for my clients, I tell them for every minute of video time, it usually takes me an hour of editing time. But you can go on live and just talk to people. Tell them what's going on in your practice. Tell them, you know, you can have someone there say, this is a simple way to change your batteries, and then just turn the camera around and have someone there changing the batteries in a hearing aid. There's a lot of little things that you can do on social media that will show people that you're really trying to make their lives better and that you're trying to help them. And it doesn't take any production, it's just live. People get to hear, they know how you sound already. They get to see you, they get to see someone that you work with, you know, doing something. It just makes them feel like they're part of you, and it builds that brand loyalty. The ones that do live video are Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and Periscope. Now some of these are kind of unusual, like I believe Snapchat, as soon as you finish, the video disappears. Periscope, I think, stays around for 24 hours and then it disappears. But YouTube and Facebook will actually keep your videos, so they're up there. You can turn them into posts. I'll give you a quick example. I've got this all set up. I'm streaming to my Facebook page right now, but sadly I'm having to stream through my phone. So I don't know how that's working. It's probably not the best, but for different reasons I couldn't get the Wi-Fi to connect properly. That being said, I recorded Deacon. I go to church with Greg, and he's our deacon. So I always I say Deacon Greg. Anyway, with Greg Alec, I recorded him onto Facebook, and at the end of his talk, he had over 200 people had viewed it already.
Is that in real time, like they
It's-
have to be on Facebook and he pops up?
Yeah, it's real time. If you were to pull up my Facebook page right now, Social Glue, you would see that I'm streaming live right now. So yeah, how well it's streaming, I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at the end and see. But I'm also recording myself so that I can go back and put that one up there also, just in case it didn't stream so good. It's kind of a new experiment that I'm doing. But still, 200 and something people were notified by Facebook that Metacoustics was live. And out of that, well, I think when I looked at it finally, 112 people actually had watched some of it. So, you know, that's kind of neat.
That's Atlanta too, correct?
No, that's all of their people who like them on Facebook, total, not just Atlanta.
Is this his business Facebook?
Yes, it's Metacoustics Facebook. And so they could be people, most of them are probably in Atlanta, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, or where most of their subscribers come from. I mean, they do have subscribers from around the world, but I really focus when I market them in those areas. I can't help who else finds them. They get people from all over the world finding them. But yeah, most of those people were probably, you know, people just like you that got a notice from Facebook that they were on Facebook checking out their family stuff, and all of a sudden it says, "Ding, Metacoustics is live," and they go there and check it out. So,
Streaming, okay, I checked.
is it streaming okay? Oh, I'm excited.
You got some thumbs up.
All right, great. Oh, you gave me some, all right.
No, other people did.
Oh, other people did, yay.
Other people did.
See, I'm excited. But that's what I love about going live on video. You can kind of think about what you want to say and then just do it. The neat thing too, at the end, it'll ask you, do you want to keep it or do you want to get rid of it? So if it didn't go great, you can just say, let's forget it. Just the people who saw it, and no one else will see it again. But if you thought, hey, that came out pretty good, turn it into a post. You know, so I love it because it's an easy way to make content. And we're going to get into making content in just a little bit. So when you're on Facebook and you're thinking about which social media platform to be on, these are some of the reasons. I tell people when they market, you know, and people, you're trying to just, say, who is your customer? And people love to say, everybody is a potential customer. And that's not really true. Well, everybody is on Facebook, it seems like. You've got B2B, business to consumer, nonprofit industry. Basically, everybody is there. And with over 2 billion people, on Facebook worldwide, that's a lot of people. So a lot of your audience is already going to be on Facebook. When I started back in 2010, 2011, the fastest growing segment on Facebook was the 60 plus. A lot of people getting on Facebook that were older because their families had moved away and they were able to see their grandchildren on Facebook. So that, I don't know if that's still the fastest growing audience on Facebook now, but at that time it was. Seniors getting on Facebook. What to post, photos, videos, links, how much, it says on there, one time, one per day or week. I would say if you're only posting once a week, you're kind of missing the boat. For my clients, I post 3 times a week, usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I tell them anything that they send to me, that's, if they don't tell me to say anything, I post at least 3 times a week for them. But if they send me stuff, like Greg sends me an installation that they're doing in Florida or something like that, I will post that for them on Tuesday, Thursday, or I'll even post it, whenever they send it to me, I post it. So I post a good bit for them. So I don't go with just that frequency. And really the biggest benefit is advertising. Facebook, if you've been on Facebook for some time, you will realize you can see how many people see your posts. And it might have been, if you were on Facebook 3-4 years ago, you might make a post, several hundred people might see it. Today you may make a post and it says 6 people saw it, 10 people saw it. It's nothing you're doing wrong. Facebook has throttled it way back. You've got to pay now to get your posts out. And before everybody gets mad and runs out and says, I'm not going to pay, the truth is, it's very inexpensive. You can spend as little as $1 a day to post on Facebook. You can't go out for $30 and canvas the parking lot out there with flyers, Print up flyers, get someone to stick them on cars and pay them. You'd be spending more than $30. You can reach thousands of people on Facebook every month for $30. So I would really recommend you thinking about advertising on Facebook. It's really, really worthwhile. Any questions?
How do you advertise on Facebook?
The way I do it, I usually look at a post that gets some natural traction, and then I boost that post. That's the easiest way to do it. I also have clients, I do a little bit more advanced stuff, where I use the ad manager that Facebook gives you. And you can do a lot more segmentation on there as far as your audience and your geographic and stuff like that. And I actually use stuff that I've done there to help me boost my post when I do it. But there's literally a button under every post that you make, there's a button that says boost. And if you click that button, it's going to say, do you want to boost to your people who've already liked your page? Do you want to boost to them plus their friends? And think about it. If you've got the right audience that has liked your page, and that average person has 300 people that they know, you're now going to be reaching those people, even if you don't do any other targeting. So you're going to be reaching a lot more people just by doing that simple thing. But I also do stuff by geographic area and stuff like that, so that I'm in the right city or the right, geographic area for them. And then I also go up and I usually say 50 plus, 50 to 60 plus, 65 plus is what they have there. And that's the way I'll do it. And I'll go from, and I'll spend maybe $5, $10. I'll go from that 6 people or 12 people that might have been reached to all of a sudden 600 people, 700 people for just a few dollars. So yes?
But how do you do you contact them to pay them?
Oh, you put your credit card in. They'll charge you.
In where?
In Facebook. You pay Facebook.
Yeah, I understand that.
Right.
But how do you notify that you want to pay them something?
Oh, you put your card in there and then you say you want to run an ad, they'll charge you for it. Yeah, they'll charge you for it. And you basically say you want to spend $5 and that you want to spend it over the course of 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, or whatever, and then they'll spend it. And you'll see, you actually see how many people you're reaching each day, and you might say, oh wow, I did pretty good yesterday and I spent $2.50. What if I spent $5 in 1 day? And all of a sudden you maybe triple what you did spending the $2.50. So you kind of have to play around with it and find the right amount of spend for you, and the right reach.
So like if you put it on if you're paying for yours, and then you like what I put on there, then you share it and it costs me nothing for it to be shared to your people.
Right. Yeah. You just had someone send it to 300 more people. That doesn't cost you anything. Yeah. Twitter. Twitter is a very, very fast-paced form of social media. And for your audience, I don't know how valuable it would be, but I always say ask. If you're thinking about getting, doing a new social media, just, spend a day or 3 or 4 days asking people come in, where are you on social media? Do you like Facebook, Twitter? What do you like? And just kind of keep a little checklist and see what they have to say. I could be totally wrong but Twitter, you see the industries there that Twitter reaches, and they have this exact same type of posts as Facebook they recommend. The only difference, a real big difference, is that you can only use a certain amount of characters, and that's not words, but characters, and spaces count as characters, and punctuation counts as characters, but they did double it. They went from 140 to 280 characters, but when it comes to posting, you need to post 5 to 7 times a day. If you look at Metacoustic's but Twitter feed, you'll see that I post usually anywhere from, 8 to 11 times a day for them, just depending upon what's going on. And for most of you guys, I think that would be overwhelming for you to try to do, in all honesty. It'd be hard for you to do, to post that many times. But that's what I do, because the feed moves rather quickly, and when people get on Twitter, they don't scroll too far back. They're looking at what's happening right then. So you need to pop in there as often as possible to get in front of them. So it's a little bit different type of social media. Like I say, I don't know how valuable it would be for you guys. But it's a very fast way. Some companies use it for customer support, that type of thing, or like Delta and those people. They're monitoring it all the time, because if something happens, they're going to say it on Twitter probably before they say it anywhere else. And so they want to be able to nip it in the bud and say, hey, we're sorry you had that bad experience. How can we help you? But that's a lot of what Twitter is used for. I would recommend monitoring it from time to time, setting up some alerts. You can do Google alerts and things like that to see if what people might be saying about your practice. That would be something I would set up, tell any business to set up Google alerts where you put in the name of your practice, and if someone says something, you'll know about it. LinkedIn, I would recommend having a LinkedIn page, having a business page. I'm not going to tell you to post on it, every day or every week. I don't think it's that crucial to post on it, but it would be good to have just so you come up in a Google search, just so that you're able to tell a little bit of your business story. Your personal Facebook profile, or not Facebook, LinkedIn profile would probably be more valuable, because that's where people are going to learn about you, learn how long you've been doing, been in the practice and that type of thing. So people probably want to know that. And it also gives you the chance to show your expertise, and post different things, post different articles, You could put a link to all the articles that Doug gave you, and people they gloss over and they go, he's a genius. He knows all this stuff. I'm going to him, you know. So there's a lot of ways you can use the information. Pinterest is one of those platforms where it's a lot of pictures, and the better the picture, the more likely you're going to get results. There are actually hearing aid Pinterest pages, believe it or not. I would not have believed it, but there are. I have some of them up there. So it's there, you know, I would recommend maybe going on Pinterest and looking at that, you know, typing in hearing aids, seeing what comes up. This one, you can see up there in the search, I put hearing aids for kids, and I got a bunch of pins. So it's another, even if you're doing Facebook, this is a great source for content. You can go in there and put in hearing aids and find some really cool stuff and put it on your Facebook page. So it's a great source for content. Instagram is kind of like Twitter, but with more pictures, although Twitter now has almost everybody posts pictures on Twitter. You can do short videos on Instagram, and now Instagram just started Instagram TV, where you can actually have your own TV channel on Instagram. So that's something that just, I think, came out in the last week or so. So Instagram might be something you want to consider, but once again, you have to consider, do you have the time to do all of this stuff? That's the main thing that you have to think
I
about.
don't think I've ever heard anybody say, I'm going to check my Instagram. Is that what they do?
They would check their Instagram, yeah. Or they would take pictures and post them on Instagram.
I've never met anybody that did that. That's really...
And I'll tell you why. Because Instagram is a lot of teens and mid-20s to late 20s are mostly on Instagram. I had a client the other day, or someone that I was talking to, wasn't a client, but we were just having a conversation, and they were like, oh, I got to get on Instagram. And I'm like going, really? And they're like, yeah, my best friend told me that I need to be there. And then a day later, someone else told me I need to be there. And I'm like going, but your audience isn't there. That's what you really need to decide, is where is your audience? And for most of you, I would think Facebook would be the most common place. And then the reason I suggested LinkedIn was because that's a good professional place to be. And it wouldn't take up a lot of your time once you have it set up. But Facebook would definitely, I think, be your best place to be. I'm just kind of showing you these other ones just so you're familiar with them. You know, and it just, you know, it's a great place to show creative. You'll see a lot of stuff there. It's also a good place to just get ideas on how to make posts. You might come across a practice in Illinois on there that you want to follow because the person comes up with really clever things to say, and you want to use them on your page, you know, on your Facebook page. He does it on Instagram, you do it, you take the information and put it on Facebook. There's nothing to say you can't do that. Now, if he's linking to something or he has something that's really cool, you might want to give him credit, you know. I don't say steal their material, but I always like to take stuff that people do and embellish it some, and then give them credit. Before you really start posting on it, you need to take the time to set it up. This happens to be a Twitter account, but they all look alike now. You notice how when someone gets to be really successful, everybody starts copying them? LinkedIn looks like Facebook, Twitter now looks like Facebook. They're all kind of changing. The thing I like about Twitter is it allows you to put the colors in here, so you can actually use your own business colors on Twitter, which is kind of nice. But you want to put a main header photo in there. Facebook calls it a cover photo. And you want to use what's called a profile photo. If you are the head and everybody knows you, putting your picture in there is okay, but 9 times out of 10 it's going to be your company logo. Just make sure it gets sized properly and things aren't chopped off or it looks really funny. Just get someone to shape it, you know, make it the right size to fit in there.
How do you know what size it is?
I think most of them, they're all square. And I know that Facebook is 180 by 180 pixels. I think maybe Twitter is like 200 by 200, but they're all square, they're not very big. They'll tell you when you click on them what size they need to be. But some people, the tough part is, for example, like if you look at MetaAcoustic's logo, it's horizontal. And if I just put that horizontal logo in there, it would look terrible. So I took the big E3 and then wrote MetaAcoustics under it and put it in there. It's what I do. But I try to help everybody look really, really good.
You gotta have a good graphics thing to change your size.
Yeah. And that's where 15 years of doing newspaper ads and things like that have paid off for me. I've got the graphics, I've got video production, I do a lot of it. The other thing that most people fail to do with their profiles is fill everything out. Try to fill everything out. It might say products, and under products you can list the different hearing aids, or you can list some of the hearing aid brands that maybe you have, that's fine. But also under products, list some of your services. Those are just as much products as anything else. So make sure you fill out these different categories. And even if the category says one thing and you don't offer that, think about, well, what could I put in there that would make sense? Because a lot of times you do something that can fit in there. The other tip that I'll give you is every 6 months, go back and look at your profile and look at what you put in there. Because you've probably either picked up something new that you didn't have 6 months ago, you're offering another service. Heck, you could have moved locations. And if you haven't changed that, people are still going to the old location when they see that. So always keep it up to date. And I would say every 6 months, just visit it. You might also look at it and go like, why did I say that? If I said this, it'd sound so much better. So it always helps to go back in and do a refresh and look at it again. And it just takes a few minutes, So you've picked your social media. We've now got you all set up. It's ready to start announcing it to people, right? You want to invite people to your new social media. You want to tell people. So in your practice, make sure you put up some type of little sign that says, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter if you're on Twitter. Make sure that people know that. So make sure you ask them. If someone says to you, well, why should I follow you on Facebook? Say, well, because we post a lot of great stories and a lot of great information there. We love to post those pictures of the little kid hearing for the first time that'll make you cry. I cry at all of that stuff. My wife laughs at me because I cry at these things. But you see that little kid, that little baby, and the mother says, his name or whatever, and the baby turns its head, It's very emotional. But those are the great things to share. You put that type of information up there, people will share that. Do y'all know how to post like a video to a Facebook page? Anybody? Like if you come across a YouTube video, you just copy the link from YouTube and just paste it into Facebook. Facebook will pull it in with a little bit of text. You can write something, like when I write, I've been crying for hours watching this, whatever. And it's easy, it's that easy. It almost writes itself. You can also share it from another page. I would recommend, there's a couple of good hearing aid manufacturers out there that have really good Facebook pages. It doesn't hurt to go over there and like their Facebook page, and you might get a post from them one day and go like, oh, I need to share that on my page. It's products that you have already. Why not share information? A lot of them are sharing them, like the videos like I told you. So that's a great thing. Include social links like everywhere. If you have a newsletter type of thing, this is something like for MetaAcoustics that we would send out that would basically, say, hey, we've got Facebook now, we've got Twitter now. And we'd send it out, we put the links at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but we actually put the links at the bottom. They click on that, they're going to go right to the page, they can like it, they can follow it. It's very, very simple to do. Doesn't take a lot of time. Put it on your website. I love the fact that this website has it at the top of the page. I don't mind if they're at the bottom of the page, if they don't have to scroll too far. Some pages, I don't wonder how many people actually get to the bottom of sometimes, you know? So I always recommend trying to put them up at the top. A lot of web designers, it's always an afterthought and they always throw them at the bottom. Get your web designer to put your social media at the top. And the reason I'm so I live this, and the reason I get excited about it is because your website can only tell people so much. Your website tells them what you do. Your social media shows them what you do day to day. It has the testimonials on it of someone who's extremely happy, that, you know, has been struggling, or maybe you record the spouse of someone that you just fitted, and they're just saying, it's changed our relationship, you know, that type of thing. And the phone, oh, here's my phone. This is probably one of your most powerful devices you have, because you can say, you know, when that person, and you've got them tuned right, you've got everything just right, they're excited, you're excited. You say, hey, would you mind telling us, you know, how we did today? They're excited. They're going to say yes. They're going to sing your praises. Record it. The practice that I work with in Atlanta, in every single room, they have a consent form. You can get a consent form online, you know, that says you have the right to use my image on your social media. And they get them to sign it. And they will, these people are excited. I mean, some of them are in tears, and they'll record them, and then they'll post it to their Facebook page. You don't think if you have someone who is thinking about, they've discovered you through Google, and they're reading your website, and they're going, well, this is kind of like, you know, the third one I've been on, and they seem to be saying all the same thing, but they go to your Facebook page, and they see someone there 2 days ago singing your praises. You just got a new customer. I mean, you know, it's a big deal. That's what people do. When they call you, they've done their research most of the time already. They're ready to come in. They've gone, they've looked online, they've done all of that. They're ready. You know, this is just another way of telling that story, saying you can't change your website every day, but you sure can post on Facebook every day. And it doesn't take that long. So even with other social media, you want to, you know, tell people on Facebook if you have a Twitter page. You want to tell people on Twitter if you have a Facebook page. You know, not all the time, but regularly, because you're always getting new people. So you want to keep them up to date. These are, this is a lady up in Missouri that I helped her get her Facebook started. She worked for Unitron at the time. Actually, now I think she works for Beltone. And so she's kind of shifted a little bit, but she's still got a Facebook page going. My group in Atlanta, Audiological Consultants, I made it a little video for them that basically talks about going and clicking to but actually get connected with them on their newsletter. So I'm using Facebook to tell people about their newsletter. And you can see down here, they had over 4,000 views, 3,521 people reached from this. And I probably spent $5. That's getting in front of a lot of eyeballs.
How do you know? I mean, are you just hoping they don't hit you for $500?
No, I told them I want to spend $5. Yeah, I said I want to spend $5. That's all you're getting from me.
Are you talking to Mr. Facebook on
I am. I'm very personal with him. No, but no, they will say when you say you're going to spend $5, they'll say, would you like to spend $8 more? Would you like to, increase that a little bit? This is how many more people you could reach if you did. And then that's your choice. But I always start out small. It's my customers' money. They're the ones spending it. I bill it back to them. But I'm not going to waste their money. I try to be frugal with their money. Also, you want to join and get connected with like-minded organizations. They're going to probably have more time to go out and make those posts and stuff than you. So if you're following them, you're going to see some of their stuff and you're going to say, oh, I can put this on my Facebook page. This is a cause that more people want to know about. This is something that we're doing. We might be helping veterans or whatever. You want to let more people know about that. So a lot of times these organizations are posting things that you want to share also. And that saves you the trouble from having to, come up with an idea of what to say. So getting into the whole thing of content creation, and I have a special bonus for you guys. I'm going to share that in a minute. When you're wanting to create that type of shareable content, you want it to be useful, you want it to be engaging, always use images. Almost all the posts I create either are an image or a video. So always try to use images. And I'll give you a quick little tip. There's a place called Pixabay. Pixabay. Pixabay.com. Royalty-free photos. Royalty-free photos. They don't try to sell you photos. You don't have to put a .com on them. You don't have to give the photographer credit. They're royalty-free. Go there and use those photos. You can find all sorts of neat photos just by typing in the word hearing. And then you'll have plenty of photos that would be fun to use that you can share. Pixabay, Pixabay.com. And, but whenever you can use employees or you can get permission to use, real, clients, real customers, do that because that shows the human side. These nice pictures from Pixabay, they're good. They're great for certain content. But whenever you can use real pictures of real people, that's way, way better. So you saw him earlier today. Now he's kind of looks a little different. But you can see how that picture would get some type of reaction on social media. And it actually did pretty well. This is something that I do for them also, remind people that it's time to calibrate, and I post something like that usually once a month because I don't know when the last time was that somebody calibrated, so I just always remind people to calibrate, and then I'll put a link in there sometime to click and schedule. It'll be a link to where they can either write or whatever to contact. Sometimes I put an email address in to contact Marion at their office to set up a calibration. And then I make little videos too, to talk about, come in for your free hearing aid screening, that type of thing. Just something a little quick, eye-catching to get someone attention, and then a link up there to where they can fill out a form, and we can track that and know that, know that it came from Facebook and stuff like that, so that we can, keep an eye on our marketing. Everybody know what a hashtag is? Few people raise their hands. Who doesn't know what a hashtag is? Anybody? Okay, one person. I'll explain it for you and everybody else who was too embarrassed to raise their hand. A hashtag is that little number symbol there, right? Is called a hashtag. And a hashtag is used mostly to search stuff on Twitter and Instagram, is where you use hashtags. Now, you can type in any search item in Instagram or Twitter, and it'll give you stuff. But you'll notice that also when it gives you hashtags, it's going to put a number there as to how many times that hashtag has been used. So if you're on Twitter or Instagram, you're going to want to use hashtags when you can that make sense Because that's how people are going to find information about you. Using hashtag the name of your practice probably isn't going to work so well, because people aren't searching for that necessarily. If you want to do that, fine, but put other hashtags in there, like hearing aids. Here's what happens when you actually put it all together as one word with a hashtag. You can start to see which ones came out the best. So if you're going to use hashtags, I would use hashtag hearing aids, would be my number one choice for this particular one, because you can see that more people would search for that because it's been used a whole lot more. That's a little bit on hashtags and how you would use them. So when you create content online, and that's what we're talking about, you don't want to just use it once. You want to use it over and over again. You took the time to write something. You know, it'd be just like writing it and throwing it in the trash can or something. Yeah, I wrote it, now I'm throwing it away. Use it over and over again. If your website has things like a frequently asked question page, those are posts. You can use those posts on a regular basis, over and over and over again, because new people are finding your information all the time. So use those frequently asked questions as actual content on your Facebook page or on Twitter. So you can pull that information from your website. You might have other information on there, like your services. Pick a particular service and talk about it on social media. You want people to get to know you. That's the whole idea behind social media, making it personable. Email, if you take the time to actually do a newsletter, and I told you earlier when we do newsletters for our clients, we usually have 3 topics in there. And those 3 topics will all be kind of short little topics in the newsletter, but a click to read more type of thing. But those 3 topics can now become 3 Facebook posts. And you can use the link that you have in Facebook to actually say, read more, and you can send people to that link, that exact same link that's in your newsletter, so they can actually read more there. You can also take the effort that you've used in your newsletter as far as going and creating the stories and everything. You know, if you create an offer or something like that, you're going to want to put the offer on Facebook. But if the offer is to print something out, print out a coupon or something like that, you can put the link to that in Facebook also. So you want to create things that have a call to action a lot of times in your social media posts. The other thing you want to do when you're writing posts is ask questions. Don't just make comments all the time, because have you ever been in a conversation with someone where all they do is kind of talk at you and you can't get a word in edgewise? Well, that's what your Facebook page can become if you don't ask questions and engage in a conversation. You know, when you meet someone for dinner or something like that and you haven't seen them in a couple of weeks, what do you say? What have you been up to? You ask a question. You engage them. And that's what you want to do on Facebook. I see so many times that's probably the number one mistake people make. They go like, well, I'm not getting any interaction on my Facebook page. And I look, well, you just set a statement. What are they going to respond to? Ask questions. Say, hey, if you like this, you know, click the thumbs up. If you don't like it, click the frowny face. You know, click the, they have a couple of different icons, but tell them which icon to click depending upon if they like it or they don't like it. You can get reactions out of, from people that way also. Always repurpose your email. You took the time to write those 3 stories, like I said. It can be 3 more posts on Facebook. It could be 12 extra tweets on Twitter, because you could grab from each paragraph a different question or statement and then say, read more here, and push that out several times. People aren't going to always click the first time they see something, and you have to give them different reasons to click. And, you know, I mentioned earlier to follow different people on Facebook, you know, different organizations. This is what great reason why. It's the same target audience, you know, similar type of business, but you have a great credibility source there, and you can share their information. But when you share their information, you want to always put your own little personal spin on it. Is the best thing to do. Is to just, write a quick little phrase. It can be something like, I came across this today, I thought you would enjoy it. Just something short, something simple. But you put your own little spin on it. 80% of the content you create should be valuable, interesting content. And that's kind of what I've been talking about, is how to get that content, whether it's from your website, from an organization, from your newsletter. It needs to be good, solid content that people are glad that you shared with them, that you informed them, you educated them, And it goes all back to them being able to make referrals for you, because now they've been educated. 20% can actually be promotional. I don't always boost ads that say, come buy this or come buy that. I will boost something, like I mentioned, that it took off already. It's already starting to have legs of its own. Because when I boost something like that, it's going to go out to a whole lot more people, and I'm going to get people to actually like their Facebook page. Now I have a chance to communicate with them even more, that they've liked, that someone new has liked the page. So that's part of my strategy also. It's not just getting likes on the post, but then being able to get more people outside to like the page. Because Facebook will start sharing it. When you boost it, they're not sharing it to just the people who've liked your page. They're sharing it to the people that you've designated. You've told them, this age group in this geographic area, we want to be in their, their feed. So while they're going through and they're seeing what their aunt's doing and what the grandkids are doing, all of a sudden a message comes up from you. And if it's always, buy this hearing aid from me, they have the option to say, I don't ever want to see this again. But if it's, 5 signs that Uncle Joe is losing his hearing, and they sit there and they see the first one and they go, that's Uncle Joe right there. Just good information that they can use, then they're going to be happy to continue to get that in their feed. This is my 30-day challenge. And I've actually had great feedback on this. I've run into people, I don't know if I'll ever see you guys again, but I've run into people when I've gone back and talked to groups again, and they've said, I did your 30-day challenge, and it gave me so many great ideas for content. Every day for 30 days, you will get a piece of content. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think a single one of them has to do with hearing aids or what you guys do. But there'll be great inspiration for you to take that concept and put it into your practice. And when you see the first couple, you'll get what I mean. And they will say, this will be a great, almost all of them say they'd be great on Facebook. Some of them will say this would be really good for Pinterest and Facebook. But they'll tell you where they can go, and they'll kind of step you through what you can do. But all you have to do is text Social Glue to 22828, and you'll probably get the first one in the first minute or so after you do that. You'll probably get a little text back that says thank you or something like that. But people have really been glad that I've done this, and what they'll do is they'll create a little calendar where if they're posting, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they say, okay, the first Monday is a testimonial. Then I'm going to post this on Wednesday, then I'm going to post this on Friday. The next Monday is going to be something a little different than something. But once you get like about 2 weeks, only 6 posts, if you want, you can duplicate that again for the next 2 weeks. But I think you'll probably end up with about 12 or so. So that could be a whole month's worth of Facebook posts for you. 12 different ideas that you post something different each time. And it'll just give you some inspiration, I think, to do that. So that's free. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's also, you get to hear from me every day for 30 days. But you can opt out anytime you want to. If you say like, I can't do this. Yeah. No, but just, you can, there's a little link at the bottom says, you know, opt me out. You can do that. But I think you'll really enjoy it. It's really a very, very neat thing, and I have gotten a lot of good positive feedback from it. So social media advertising, we've touched on it already a little bit. We've talked about how much to spend, you know, if you put your credit card in there, that type of thing. Why should you do it? 25% will visit a location or a website because of an ad that they see. I try to drive, most of my ads have a purpose. It's either a click to sign up, if I'm doing an ad, a click to sign up to come in for a free consultation, something along those lines, you know, click to come in if you're suffering from tinnitus, you know, something along those lines. I will also do a thing where I have a couple of clients who have decent blog posts, and every month they write a couple of blogs, and so I will point people to their blog, and they'll be talking about different issues, you know, hearing loss issues in their blog, and it helps to present them as an expert, but it also might get the person on their website for the first time. So that's another reason I do it. I had one client, wasn't in audiology or in hearing aids. They were actually in fashion, but I drove more people to their website with Facebook and Twitter than Google did. You know, some months I actually beat Google out. So it can be a very good tool to get people to learn more about you. And that's what you want, that's part of this, is so that people feel comfortable with you. Because who do people do business with? You know this. People who they know, like, and trust. And if they get to know you, and they get to know more about what you do, they start to like you, and then they trust you, and they see you as the experts. And that's a lot of what Doug was talking about today. When they come in, they need to leave going, I am so glad I went in there. They've really taken care of me. So this is just kind of doing the same thing, but online. So this is how simple it is. This is just boosting a post here. You would click the boost button. First thing I did was I picked a message that I wanted to boost. Like I say, usually it's one that took off kind of organically on its own, and so I want it to keep going. I don't want to lose that momentum, so I'm going to go ahead and boost it, you know. And this is, you know, like you see right there, 18 simple ways to prevent hearing loss. And I'm trying to remember, I don't even think they wrote this. This is something I found online. If you click that picture, it's going to you know, be there. But I'm just trying to get more eyeballs on this because they're going to see my client. It's more of a branding issue here. And so I chose that post. I go in and I define my audience. You can see up here, people who like your page. Well, that's good, but I'd rather have people who like their page and are friends. I can do a look-alike, 1% of people that are like people who, I have 1,000 people on this page already, so they're going to find that 1% that are very similar to those people already in the geographic area I want, you know, or a look-alike. And then there's another one that's down further you can't see that actually says by predetermined, like I've already set up. I've gone in on the back end, it's a little bit more involved, and I've actually picked out certain zip codes for them because they have 6 locations. So I've picked out zip codes actually for them, and I would pick that one that I've defined. Audience size is defined, and it says good job up there. So it'll tell you whether or not you've done the right thing before you start. And then you set your budget, and you have there 1 day, 7 days, 14 days, or run ad until. I always do run ad until, because I usually don't run for 1 day or 7 days. I usually run for 3 or 4 days, because I don't want to be committed to something for a long period of time unless it really takes off. You know, yes?
One thing I run into is not thinking about doing it early enough if it's a time
Yes.
we're sponsoring. We might be paying for 5 days, and the minimum is 5 days, and then it runs after the event. So you have to think ahead of time, because there is a minimum.
Yes. Yes.
Live and learn.
No, you definitely have to think ahead of time, especially with anything that's time related. A lot of times, depending upon the client, I won't boost stuff through the weekend. You know, I will boost stuff usually Monday through Friday. Now I have a realtor that's in Destin, Florida. I do run stuff for him on the weekends because that's when people are looking online for houses and listings and things like that. They'll look on the weekends. So for him, I boost that stuff on the weekends. But a lot of my other businesses, I'll boost Wednesday through Friday for them. So I'll do like a 3-day boost. And basically all the platforms that I showed you now actually do allow you to advertise. And most of them are very similar to what Facebook has done. They pretty much are copying Facebook. I will tell you one thing that Facebook has done. They've gotten easier and easier to use when it comes to spending your money. It's true, but they've also gotten better. It used to be I would tell people never boost a post on Facebook, because I felt they were just ripping you off, because you couldn't define your audience enough. You were just boosting to everybody in a general area. And so for that reason, I would tell people not to boost posts, but they finally got their boosting to where it actually makes sense, and I probably do equal amount of boosting and then the other more advanced ads that I do.
One thing I can add to that too,
Yeah.
that based on what I've learned so far from you, is that say you have more than one location and one is in the north part of the state and one's in the south, Facebook tricks you into saying, I want to do 500 miles or 100 miles from that, and you wind up paying twice as much money. Actually, if you just kind of spread them out, there's a middle ground that gets covered in that too.
Right.
So if it's just one location versus multiple locations, you can actually maximize, and it captures all those people within that circle that you have control over spreading or, contracting or expanding.
They also, there's a slider there. You can slide it over and make it more condensed so you don't reach people way outside of your market. Yes?
If we have multiple locations,
Right.
are we better with multiple Facebook pages or just a single page?
How busy are you? I would
Not
say,
nearly busy enough.
no, I mean, if you've got time to be on Facebook on multiple pages,
I don't.
yeah, I would say one page, but give your locations, and if one location is doing something that another location is, that you want to do, make sure when you boost that post, that you boost it to just that location's, area. But if you're doing like a campaign where, I guess like if you've got an offer that's only good at one location is what I'm trying to say, which you probably don't do. You probably do everywhere at the same time. But if you should, just make sure you boost in that one area, But I would say the audiologists that I work with in Atlanta, the 6 locations, one Facebook page. Anything else? Any other questions? All right. So let's just talk a little bit about growing your list. I started the whole conversation off about the value of your list, and I kind of showed that you guys could have very, very valuable lists and how important it is to start collecting those email addresses, right? Email plus social media equals 37, that's my dyslexia, 73 more customer engagement, 73% more customer engagement. 57 more new customers when you can use the two together. There's a lot of things you can do with an email blast. You can say, we're getting close to X amount. Maybe you're getting close to 500, people. And you can say, once we, get to 500, we're going to give away a prize of some sort. You come up with a nice little prize. It could be a gift basket or something. I actually have my client in Atlanta, they give a gift basket away for referrals. And we promote every single month that you can get a nice, and we show the gift basket, it's a beautiful gift basket, that you can get this gift basket for referring someone to us, and you get the basket if they actually ended up buying from them. So it's a great idea, And we love to show pictures of the people who got the gift baskets. And we've shown 2 or 3 pictures now of folks. They just started this campaign just recently, and they've already given away several gift baskets at different locations. So, you know, you can actually get more customers when you combine your social media and your email together. And 39% more referrals. And that all goes back to the very beginning when I was talking about you can either advertise like we used or promote like you used to, where you shotgunned it, or you can start with the people that already know about you and get them to become advocates for you and spread the word about you. I have email ad forms on most of my clients' Facebook pages if I'm doing their email marketing. They don't even have to leave Facebook. If you notice over here on the corner of it, up there, it says join our list. It's a tab on Facebook that I've put in, and I can actually go ahead. They click that tab and it will just pull up the form, and they just, simple, it just asks email address, first name, last name. I also create little videos. You know, I think you've seen 1 or 2 of them already in this presentation. You just kind of see them going. But I include the link in there and ask them to join their email list. So I'm just going to recap quickly, and then I'm going to try and do one little thing, see how the internet's working here for me. It was working well earlier. We talked about picking the right platform for you guys, you know, getting your profile set up. And that's important, because someone has come from your website, now they're on your Facebook page, they're looking around, they're snooping, and if they go and they click on something and it's not filled out, not that you're hiding anything, they're just not going to learn about you the way they should learn about you. So make sure you really fill out your business profile well, and then start making posts. And if you signed up for my content challenge, you're going to get a ton of great ideas on how to make posts. So this is something I know you guys can do. If you need help, give me a call. If you want someone to do it, give me a call. I'd be glad to do it for you. My wife would be happy to put together your newsletters. But that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do you have any questions about social media? Thank you. I know this was a little different for y'all. Did you like it?
Yes.
Good.